Our next step is to connect our user interface that we've created to our code. Namely, we want to connect this text view to our code so we can modify it at runtime, and we want to connect this trash button to our code as well. Before we do that, I'm going to delete all the text inside of that text view. One way to do that is to select the text view, go over to the Attributes Inspector, find that dummy text that's in there, select it, and delete it. Note that you're going to have to press Return to commit the change. So notice when I press Return, the text view cleared. So if you click away, it'll look like the text view is not there anymore. But if you click in here, you'll see that it is there. So now let's connect this to our code. The first thing I'm going to do is get a little bit more screen real estate because I'm currently running on a low resolution. So I'm going to hide the document outline. I can do that with this button right here. So that hides that little area. Then I'm going to hide the navigator and the inspector area. So now I just have my UI right here. And the next step is to show the assistant editor, which will allow me to view my user interface and my code at the same time. So one way to do that is to hit this button right here, these lines. This says Adjust Editor Options. On my interface right now, there's no button to show the assistant editor. So what you need to do is hit this and then hit the assistant button. You can also memorize this keyboard shortcut, Control, Option, Command, and Return. However, you might not find yourself using this all the time. But if you do, it's a good keyboard shortcut to memorize. Let's show the assistant. And here we have the UI on the left and the code on the right. So what we want to do is scroll over here so we can see this text view nice and clear, and we can see our code right here. Now what we do is we hold the right mouse button, click and drag into the code. And you want to drop this right underneath line 11 that says Class View Controller. Just right click and drag right under there. See that line that's previewing where you're going to drop your element? So let it go right there. It should say Connection Outlet, and it should say Type UI Text View. Sometimes if you drag from the wrong place in your user interface, you're going to see the wrong type. So you can cancel out and then right click and drag again. But this time you probably should have it right the first time. We'll call this text view, and what this is going to be is a variable name. If you're unfamiliar with programming at all, that means that we're going to have a code representation of this visual object. So hit connect, and there we go. We can now access this text view through our code through this value text view. So what we want to do is actually change the text inside of the text view while the app is running. And to do that, we're going to put the code to change it inside of this viewDidLoad function right here. ViewDidLoad is what's known as an event. That is, this is a block of code that is triggered when all of your user interface elements are loaded and ready to use. So that's when we want to set the text in the text view. So I'm going to delete this comment here, this line of code that starts with 2 forward slashes, and then I'm going to type text view. As I type it, you'll see the code hinting pop up. So once you see your text view highlighted, press return on the keyboard to have Xcode autocomplete that for you. And then type dot and text. And then we just set it equal to with an equal sign, and then put 2 quotes and put some kind of text in there. And what's going to happen is this text field that has nothing inside of it, when the application is loaded up and running, the code is going to tell it to put the text hello or whatever you put inside of those quotes inside of the text view. So let's run the app and see what it looks like. I'm going to run it on the iPhone 11 simulator because I already have that one open. It's going to install much faster than using another simulator. Once the app runs, you should see hello in the tiny top left corner of your text view. Great. Now we've successfully connected a user interface element to code and modified it while the app is running. I'll tab back over to Xcode and stop the running application.